I think the other day I was charged £5 for a pint of Coke. £5. Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Fantastic Time with me, Taher Houssain. Welcome back to the 7th episode. I hope you've had a good week, or a good 2 weeks it might be in this case. Again, I do apologise for that. However, a lot has happened, I feel like, in the last week or so, or 2 weeks since I've last uploaded an episode. The first one I will touch upon is I was going through some of my old stuff, because I've brought a lot of stuff when I moved to London, and I was just going through some of the boxes and I found my old PSP, and I was just thinking, okay, let's try to reboot it. Let's try to do something nice with it. So tried to reboot it. Didn't have any power, of course, because I haven't charged it in probably 9 years or so. It's been a very, very, very long time. So I was like, all right, cool. I just need to get myself a charger. I opened up the battery and I didn't realize, but apparently those, I think they're lithium batteries, they get really fat. They get really fat, really chunky. And the case, if you saw it, was cracked. It was all cracked up, not the best. And I was just like, oh, brilliant. So I'm going to have to buy a new battery on top of that. So, and then I was thinking, okay, let me see if I've still got my old memory stick. Did not have my old memory stick. So I had to buy a micro SD card and an adapter. So I had to buy a bunch of stuff to get this thing up and running. And I have. I've got it up and running and it's been absolutely amazing. Also, I took the liberty of modding it. Now, it took me about 3 hours across 3 different days, I think, to mod it properly. On these tutorials, they always say, hey, it's only going to take you, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to mod your PSP or this console or this device or that device. When realistically, it's going to take you 3 to 4 hours. It's going to take you 10 minutes if you watch the video. That's the length of the video. That's what they don't tell you. It's actually going to take you a lot longer because you have no clue what you're doing. Especially if you're someone like me who's never modded much. My brother is usually a lot better at that kind of stuff. He's done it before. On like his iPhone 4 back in the day. That's a throwback, iPhone 4, but he's done it on that. He's done it on other devices, so he's more of an expert when it comes to that field. So for me to try and attempt to jailbreak or mod something, it was a big task, but I got it done in the end, and I downloaded through legal measures. I downloaded all these games that I used to play back in the day, and a bunch of ones that I never got the chance to play, so which was amazing. So right now I am playing through Assassin's Creed Bloodline. If you've played that before, you will know it is, I think, a filler game in between or just after Assassin's Creed 1. I'm not going to lie, it's a bit janky. Like, playing it, I'm like, wow, this is janky as all hell. And sometimes Altair is jumping one way when you want to be climbing. It's a lot sometimes, and it can be a bit frustrating, but I've had a lot of fun with it, and I'm really enjoying it. Also, I've been playing The Force Unleashed, which I had as a boy. When I first got my PSP, Force Unleashed was my game. That was the first game I'd gotten, the first game I played. I think I'd played the story mode over like 15 different times. It's that good. I know it's different from playing it on the Xbox or PlayStation 3, which had a completely different version. But I believe the PSP version has the most levels, most interesting, like, little side missions and side quests. You meet characters that you don't really get to meet in the PlayStation 3 or Xbox version, which I found crazy. Back when games used to have different, like, third-party developers, depending on what console you were playing on, which was a wild time. Nowadays, it's just the same game on all platforms, which means you've got like a generally good experience or like a universal experience across all platforms. So it doesn't matter if you're on Xbox, Switch. That actually, if you're on Switch, you're probably gonna have a different kind of experience. If you're like playing Hogwarts Legacy or Mortal Kombat, it's probably gonna be in like 440p or something crazy like that, unfortunately so. But right now I'm just making my way through the PSP catalog, and I love it that I'm looking back on, I know, retro tech or stuff that I would have seen as, like outdated or something of that nature. And I'm bringing that along with me, and I'm just revamping it, rebooting it, and finding some enjoyment in it. I feel like we're stuck so much sometimes with the idea of finding the next best thing, the next new thing. I want the most latest iPhone, this, that, or the other, that we sometimes fail to look at the beauty of things that we used to love back in the day. Maybe 2 to 3 years after you've gotten something, it loses its charm, it becomes redundant, and you're on to the next thing, the next better thing, the next new shiny thing. But then after a certain amount of time, like I've had my PSP since I think I was 9, 10, something of that variety. And then on top of that, I have opened it up, I have seen it over the last couple of years. But nothing in my head has gone, let me go and revamp this, let me mod this, let me go and play all the games I used to play, let me go and play all the games I wanted to play but never got the chance to because the games were too expensive. Instead, I was stuck on playing PC, playing Elden Ring, God of War, this, that, and the other, Resident Evil 7 and 8, all brilliant games, and you should go out and play them, but at the same time, I know, it's fun to look into the archives and see what you can pull out from it's like looking at an old photo, or like finding an old t-shirt or jacket that your dad used to own, and you're like, this is amazing, but they don't see the beauty in it because for them it's old, it's redundant, they've already moved on to the next best thing, or the new set of photos, the new set of memories. But yeah, I'm having a whole nostalgia trip going through retro gaming and retro tech. If you've got a PSP, DS, or anything like that, I implore you to reboot it. Because honestly, you're going to be able to jailbreak it, mod it so easily, and play all those classic games in a classic format. I know there's emulators, ROMs, and all sorts that you can get on PC, your phone, all that. But there's just something about having it on the OG device that just... it's just amazing. I feel like it's probably the same as if you get a Game Boy again and you just start playing all these Game Boy games, in 2026, which is crazy considering we've got games that are like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gigabytes bigger. Like, I think some of the games I had or I was downloading onto the PSP were about a gigabyte, which is crazy. And that's a full-length game on a portable device. I feel like portable devices nowadays, like a Switch, it's not portable in my head because I'm like, I still got to have a whole bag for it, a whole case for it. Whereas with a DS or PSP, in my head, that's truly portable. It's like, it's a little bit bigger than my phone, and I can slot it into my trench coat or one of my big puffer coats or something of that variety. Like, I can actually have it in my pocket. I don't need a whole separate bag to carry my portable device. Which is, I know that sounds a bit stupid, a bit redundant, but yeah, I know there's something about it being so portable and it's so handheld. I know the screen's tiny, it plays in like, 580p, some 440p, something stupid like that, but the games are just beautiful and it just brings you back to a different place. I think I like the idea of it being dedicated to just gaming, a device that doesn't do anything else but plays my portable games. In a very handheld fashion where I don't have to lug around another bag. So yes, old tech, if you've got any, reboot it, restyle it, because honestly, I think you'll find a lot of enjoyment out of that. But yes, on the other hand, winter is upon us in January. December, for some reason, it's very hit or miss. If it's going to snow, if it's going to ice, if it's going to have any of that. But the start of January has seen so much ice, so much cold. Honestly, anytime I walk out in the morning, I'm always slipping and sliding on the floor, on the pavement, and I'm having to like take steps very carefully. Even if I've got like my boots on, whatever, I'm still slipping at the heel. Especially when I come to like the edge of the curb, and I'm like, okay. I think you get the feeling. You're like, okay, am I gonna slip? I'm gonna take one step, and okay, yeah, and then you just slipping and sliding everywhere. You're nearly falling back, and you got to balance yourself. Last year, I did slip on the curb. I think me and my friends, we were going to some town to go and explore it. I stood on the curb, didn't see a patch of black ice, and I fell completely on my ass. And when you don't have gloves on, and your hands go into that crumbly British pavement, the one with like all the jagged rocks on it, nothing smooth. And then you just get a bunch of fucking indents into your palm. Sometimes if you're unfortunate, you'll get a cut or two, but it's usually a couple indents, and it's just painful, and it hurts for like a good 10, 15 minutes, and you're like, good God, I could have been more careful and just not dealt with this absolute shite, but here we are. But the good thing about the good weather is food tastes absolutely brilliant. Well, when you get something like, something on the go, a Greg's. Americans, Australians, everybody across the world, if you don't know Greg's, you should, because it is a British staple. When you get like, I don't know, a cheese and onion bake. I know not a lot of people are a fan of those. My dad used to bring those to me when I was a kid, so for me, it's a whole nostalgia trip. Again, a lot of nostalgia. Chicken bake. Oh, you just can't beat it. Especially when it's hot and it's cold outside, it's piping, you're burning your tongue. Like, have you ever done that? Have you burnt yourself on a chicken bake? It's because of the hot liquid inside. I'm not sure if you've had like scalding hot liquid, because sometimes I'm a bit impatient with soups or my pastas or like my chicken bakes, and I'm just gnawing into it. And that hot liquid just scalds my tongue. I actually did that the other day, I think, with like a soup, and it absolutely obliterated my tongue and half my taste buds for about 3 days. I've only recently just gotten my like tongue to be able to taste food regularly. Thank God for that, because I was having no sense of taste. Like, and you just get this weird feeling. There's a weird sensation on like the top layer of your tongue. I'm not sure how to explain it, but you can actually feel where it's been kind of lightly scalded. It's not completely burnt, like you're never going to taste anything, but you've just lightly scalded it, and it's just not a pleasant feeling to have. And if you thought slipping on ice when you're walking is bad, it's the return of those classic car videos. I think they're mostly from Birmingham and Manchester and up north. Again, shout to up north. I love the north. However, I don't think I'd love it during the winter. I know, I'm the kind of guy, I like snow for about a week, maybe a week and a half, because it's the novelty. Afterwards, I just feel like the cold reaching my bones and reaching my heart, and I'm like, it's probably going to stop it. My core body temperature is dropping significantly. I need this to stop. But I think what's worse, and I've never had this issue, thankfully, during my time driving, but it's driving on ice and snow. I haven't had the unfortunate luxury of doing that. However, I know people in Birmingham and Manchester have been doing that. One of my friends who's been driving up Manchester says it's been absolutely awful. It's probably cleared up by the time you see this episode. It's probably been all cleared. It's probably just heavy rain, classic British weather now. But before, honestly, it's those car videos where people are parking on hills, or if you live on any kind of incline, or have to go up any kind of incline, or have to park on any kind of incline. It's awful. It's awful. You see these cars just sliding down the road, and people are dodging it like it's dodgeball or something. Like you're jumping out of the way like it's a missile, and it's crazy. And then you just see it smashing into another car, which makes that other car that's just smashed into go into another car, which sends the other car, which unfortunately didn't have its handbrake all the way up, sliding across the ice, down the hill. It's like a whole domino effect. It's awful. And all I'm thinking while I'm sat here is, insurance is going to be a bitch. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. Like, it's going to be absolutely terrible. Like, how do I explain that to somebody? Oh, I couldn't park properly on the ice or on a hill, and thus my car went sliding into another car, which caused a domino effect, which wrecked 15 other cars. The insurance payout, your premium must be like £20,000 plus on top of what your insurance currently is. Because I don't know in any world where the insurance company is going to look at that and be like, yeah, of course, we'll only up your premium by like, I don't know, maybe another £100, £200. No, they're going to be like, we're coming for all your money if you ever want to drive again, if you ever want to set foot in a vehicle and drive on British roads. That's what it's going to take you. Insurance companies love to raise premiums. They love to take your money off of you. Even if nothing happens, they want that money. That's all I'm going to say. Insurance companies are not the one. Thankfully, in the UK, we don't have to deal with like medical insurance. I think there are medical insurance companies, but again, that's private, that's optional. It's nice to have the option to do that. It's not a mandatory thing. I'm not sure in Australia or Canada if it is a mandatory thing, but I know at least in America, yeah, it's not looking good. I couldn't imagine having to have another bill on top of all the bills I currently have. I think it's just a hassle. And honestly, my heart goes out to you because I know how expensive things can be, and I can only imagine how expensive medical care can be, basic medical care, and that's not including like the dentist. I'm not sure if it does include the dentist. If it does, then maybe that's good, yeah, because I know in the UK you pay an arm and a leg to see the dentist, especially if you've got an emergency. Sometimes somebody just told me that they had an emergency with with one of their tooths, and the dentist was like, okay, yeah, of course, we'll see you in about 2 months. And I'm like, pardon? I think we just said it was an emergency, but they're like, no, 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 we'll see you in 2 months. It's an emergency. That means I need to see you now. Like, it's probably something important, like something's popped off, or something is killing my ability to eat, to chew, this, that, or the other. Like, come on, you can see me. But again, I know they're under a lot of pressure, they're backed up, and all that good stuff. We need more dentists. We need more affordable dentists. That's what we need, because the prices nowadays just see a dentist and to get any treatment is extortionate. Again, I would love to hear what the cost of a dentist is in in America, in Canada, in any other country, but in the UK, for the average person, it can be quite tough, and that's why a lot of people have terrible teeth here. I think that's preferably the reason. I think especially considering we get so cushy with the NHS and getting things for free because we pay our taxes and this, that, and the other, I think we're a bit, reluctant to spend money on medical healthcare, especially on teeth, which is crazy because your teeth are, one of your most aesthetically pleasing, like, tools, you could say, or on a person. But also it's got a lot of health benefits and a lot of, oral benefits that you need to, take care of. But hey, to each their own. If you've got bad teeth, bless you. Hopefully you can get that sorted out for a reasonable cost. If not, then you're going to have to start saving up some money. Unfortunately, I used to have bad teeth, actually, back in the day. Back in the day, I used to have donkey teeth, terrible teeth. I got Invisaligns, sorting that out. Got some other stuff, one little bits here and there. I think I've got a little crown as well because I had a little cavity. But apart from that, it's a-okay. It's not looking too bad. Could it be better? Of course it can. Will I get veneers in the future when I can afford to? I'm not sure if veneers are cool. I know. I feel it's kind of weird having a little tooth or like a case on top of my teeth. I'm not sure. For me, that's a bit bizarre. That's a bit weird. But then again, if I ever get the money to be able to do that, I might think it's perfectly reasonable. Like, it's like, people think spending £1,000 on a jacket or a t-shirt is crazy. But then if you had that money and if it was disposable income and and it really wouldn't make a dent on your finances, like, would you think differently and be like, yeah, why not? Yeah, of course. I feel like when you start making more money, your lifestyle starts getting more expensive. It's lifestyle inflation. It's going to happen. So if you're thinking and judging people for spending money so ludicrously, unless you're like a penny pincher and you save and and you invest and you love doing that stuff, which you should be doing, please do that, then you're gonna be susceptible to lifestyle inflation. It's just natural. The more money you make, the more stuff you're gonna buy, and more stuff you're gonna have on finance, in terms of, maybe your mortgage. Maybe you might want a more expensive mortgage, more expensive place, more expensive car finance, this, that, or the other. You're probably going to do all of the above when you start making more money. So you've got to be careful of that, because that's how they get you. That's how they get you. So I know, I feel like if you're making a couple grand more, try to keep the lifestyle you have. Maybe you can treat yourself here and there, but other than that, just keep it at a nice little level. Just to, just save yourself a couple pennies here and there, save it, invest it, put it towards your future, because that's what you should really be doing. That's the thing that they don't say, that you need to be doing that. Because I'm not going to lie to you, nowadays, money just flies out of your pocket. I feel like you wake up in the morning and you've already lost a tenner to something or someone. Like some service that you're paying for, some subscription that you have online that you forgot to cancel or don't want to cancel because it's an ongoing thing. And then you got to go out, then you got to do your grocery shopping, then you got to do, then you might forget to make lunch, so you got to buy lunch, and then maybe you've got to pay for travel, bus, tube, this, that, and the other. Especially living in a city, let's say London, but it's not even just London. I feel like living in a city, period, now, whether it be Birmingham, Manchester. I feel like Bristol, back when I used to live around the area, for people who used to live there, were telling me it's quite expensive, nearly as expensive sometimes as London. Maybe not on the groceries, but maybe on rent and stuff like that. And that just blows my mind. Especially for me, living in London. London is so expensive. Especially just to get to work and back. I think it will cost me a tenner a day. which is what, £50, £60, £70 a week, because I work in central London, so I'm having to travel 2 to 3 zones, and that's still costing me a bit of money. And see, a tenner doesn't seem that much, but when you're doing it every day, it's an arm and a leg by the end of the week. By the end of the month, you're selling, it's a whole human being. Yeah, it's a whole human being that you're unfortunately having to give away just to go and earn that money back. Like, it's unfortunate, unfortunately. So basically, I think about one of my shifts a week is dedicated to travel costs. That's not including food or any of my bills, which is insane when you think about it. Like, the cost of living is no joke. Like, for me, Lidl and Aldi, all day, every day. People who shop at Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer's, Waitrose, I feel like that is a luxury beyond a luxury. I love it when, stuff in there is reduced. Sometimes on my break, I go out with one or two of my colleagues and we hit up the reduced section. The reduced section is a godsend. It saved me during university, especially in my third year when I had complications with my student loan. It saved me completely. I was able to buy groceries, this, that, or the other. Maybe get a sandwich if I forgot to cook for like £1.50, maybe even £1. And sometimes I'd venture to Lidl and Aldi and go and see their reduced section because they're already cheap, but when they're reducing stuff, it's just mwah. Chef's kiss. That's what you want. You're like, it's nice and easy, nice and simple. I can actually go and eat and live and potentially save a bit of money towards for when I get old and decrepit and all that nasty stuff. But yeah, cost of living nowadays is no joke, especially if you're trying to do social stuff as well. Maybe go out for a drink, maybe go out for coffee, lunch. Coffee, for example, in London is extortionate. I think I talked about it in one of my other videos. But even if you're just going out for a simple drink at a restaurant, pub, this, that, or the other. I think the other day I was charged £5 for a pint of Coke. £5. That is ludicrous. I feel like I've been robbed. Because people are paying for alcoholic beverages for £7 to £8, which again is extortionate. For some people, that might be like, oh, that's nothing, and that's fine, that's amazing. And I'm not even talking about cocktails. I'm talking about just bog standard. I just want beer on tap. I've seen friends, colleagues, and it's just awful. I'm just like, how are you paying rent? How are you buying food? Like, it's insane. And I'm out here paying a fiver for a Coke just because I want to go and hang out with them and be part of the crowd and socialize and stuff like that. But again, I'm just like, one drink, maybe 2 drinks, because it's costing me a fiver a piece. I can go into the Tesco's and buy probably, a big litre for £1.50. I'm not sure if I can, because I don't usually buy fizzy drinks to bring at home. I try to stay good. Water, drink that. That's, what do nowadays say? Agua. Yes, no Coke, none of that business. But I think it's about £1.50 or something like that for a big litre. So I can have probably 7 or 8 litres for about a fiver, give or take. Let's say if it's £1 for a litre, let's just say that I can have 5 litres at minimum. And you're telling me it costs me a fiver for a pint. A pint, I believe, is something stupid like 500 or 686, 76 millilitres. I'm not sure exactly why we went with that measurement. I think it was just the most convenient thing at the time. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly why they don't round it, especially if it's in like the 576, 86 like range. Just round it up to the 700. Just do us all a favor and round it up to the 700, just so we can get a little bit more bang for our buck. I know it might affect you just a bit, hurts the margins, but have some mercy. We're like, oh, come on, it's cost of living crisis. People can barely, afford food. Honestly, it's just so expensive for absolutely anything. Sometimes I walk past a McDonald's and I go, not today. Not today. Not just because it's unhealthy and it's bad for you and all that good stuff. But on top of that, I'm just like, mayo chicken's £1.50. £1.50 for a mayo chicken is absolutely ridiculous. You should be ashamed of yourself. Personally, I wouldn't pay more than £1. Actually, I have paid more than £1. I remember when it was 99p. Do you remember when it was 99p for just a cheeseburger? No, it's not a cheeseburger. For a hamburger or for a mayo chicken. 99p. Those were the good old days. Now it's £1.50. I think it's £1.59 or 49, whichever one. Just because they don't want to round it up to the whole number. Just because they're like, we want to be... We don't want to be to the nearest 10. We'll just be one below. Just to do you a benefit. I remember when they raised it up to, I think it was like £1.19, and people were losing their shit and they were losing their minds. And now it's £1.50 and nobody's batted an eyelash. Crazy. Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Talking about McDonald's, next month, I'm a bit of a Pokemon nerd, and a bit of a nerd, as you can tell. I've rebooted a whole PSP and modded it and playing retro games. But they're doing the Pokemon collab in their little Happy Meals. I am a grown man. I'm not ashamed to say that I will probably participate in that just to get 1 or 2 cards, just to get that nostalgia hit. Just to get, again, I'm big on nostalgia right now. However, I know they're doing a Pokemon event for their 30th anniversary at the Natural History Museum. Unfortunately, I did not get a ticket. Terrible, terrible business. I'm not sure exactly what merch they're going to be selling. I know they're going to be selling a lot of cool stuff. I know you get like a special Pokemon card, like a massive Pikachu one. And I'm like, that's so cool. However, I can imagine those tickets being expensive, like extortionately expensive and crowded, and you're going to probably have to beat up a 50-year-old or maybe even a 40-year-old man who has loved Pokemon, played Pokemon, and wants to buy all of this merch to then resell it for 10x to 14-year-olds and below, which is mental. And also, on the topic of that, have you seen the Pokemon Lego set? I think it was about, £500, £600 for the most expensive one? Even for the Star Wars Venator, which I will have one of these days. In the far future, I will get one just because I've loved it as a kid, and I feel like I think that's a bloke thing. I feel like it's like a real project that you could work on. But £600 for Charizard, Venusaur, and I think it was Blastoise is insane. And if you pre-order it, that's the only way you can get the limited gym set, like the gym badge set, which is criminal. I think that's absolutely extortionate. The Pikachu is a little bit better. I think it's about £100. You get like a life, it's a Pikachu coming out of its Pokeball. That's quite cool. For £100, I'm like, okay, cool, that's a little bit more worth it. For the Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise set, I'm not sure if that's worth it. If it was individual, maybe, individual very big ones, I think that would have been a lot more cooler. And I think if they did it for about 200 would have been the nice sweet spot. £500 to £600, you're looking at Millennium Falcon, you're looking at Death Star, 8080, Venator levels of pricing. And I don't think it's at that level. I think the most affordable one is probably the Eevee. If you're going to get the Eevee, Eevee's cute. Eevee's, I think, a nice size. £50, again, a bit steep. But again, Lego has just become so extortionate. And with that Pokemon like label attached to it for this 30th anniversary, I know we're all complaining and whining about it, but we all know it's all going to sell out. It's going to be sold out. It's going to fly off the shelves like minute one. At least the Eevees and the Pikachus are. For that £500, £600 like Pokemon set, I'm not going to lie to you, just watch it on YouTube. Because some YouTuber is going to buy it and going to be like, welcome to my Charizard, Blastoise and Venusaur Lego set 30th edition building session. Yes. I think it's probably going to be some level of ASMR. You're just going to hear, and I'm not sure if Lego blocks click. I think they do. I should know. I did a set like for Christmas because I got like a Lego camera. It's just right here actually. Just got this Lego camera. But I think they do click. You're going to hear a little ASMR session where they're like rattling the bag, like, tapping on the box for like 5 minutes just to extend the video just a bit. Every single bag, they're just going to just rattle it next to the microphone. I'm not sure how that'll feel. I'm not sure how I'd feel about that. I'm not sure if there is videos on that. I haven't searched it up. But knowing the genres on YouTube, I wouldn't be surprised if there is an ASMR Lego niche. There's already an ASMR food niche, which again, I think it's disturbing. My little sister used to watch them and I was just like, how are you actually watching this video? Like, it's physically making me feel repulsed. I don't know, that mukbangs and ASMRs have never been my thing. If it's your thing, hey, no judgment. But personally for me, yeah, it's not it. Personally, I'm just like, yeah, no. So yes, don't buy that £600 Lego set if you can't afford it. Please do not corner it, go into debt or any of that rubbish. Just instead, watch an ASMR video on YouTube of someone building it. Because yeah, and instead spend your money on maybe, I don't know, the Venator. If you've got that £500, spend it on the Venator, or like the Death Star, or a second-hand 8080, or something of that variety. Or if you don't have that money, just go and buy yourself that Eevee. If you've got a medium amount of money, go and buy that Pikachu. Why not? If you're a big Pokemon fan, if you're not, save your money. Save your money for something better. Again, it's the 30th anniversary, so they're gonna do a lot more stuff throughout the year. So don't you worry about that. I think I'll end this episode on that note. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I would love it if you would subscribe, like, share the video, favorite it. I'm not sure if people still favorite videos. If you do, that's amazing. Please do let me know. Again, I will start working on the short form content. I know I keep saying this. Eventually I will get to it and you'll see it start popping up on my pages. But if you want to follow me on TikTok or Instagram or anything of that variety on the official pages or my personal ones, the links will be in the description below. And yes, thank you for watching another episode of A Fantastic Time with me, Taher Houssain.